when you talk about balance, let's say the universe has to have some sort of balance, right?
Mm.
Amsterdam was lovely. Spain was amazing. There was too much good going on. There has to be a balance. There has to be something that puts me back in place. You know what I mean? Or it's too good to be true.
Oh, hello there. I'm Jimmy Shuker, alongside Albert Chalmers and Sean Goodman. And this is Radiant Light, a spiritual discussion podcast, episode 22. On today's episode, Albert, Sean and I are continuing our focus on the present moment. But what exactly is happening during this present moment? Hindu, Buddhist, Jain and Sikh people around the world are preparing for Diwali, the festival of lights. Long ago in India, there was a great warrior prince named Ram. Ram was banished from his country by his father, King Dashrath, and told to live in the forest for 14 years. Whilst in the forest, his wife Sita was captured by the 10-headed demon king, Ravan. Ram rescued her with the help of his brother and the monkey general, Hanuman. Ram eventually returned to his homeland, and the local people were overjoyed. They celebrated by decorating their homes with lamps, setting off fireworks, and decorating the entire city. The tale of how Diwali came to be celebrated does tend to differ across India, but the version that you just heard and the story of Ram is the most common. I recently caught up with my good friend Siddharth Rajan, who grew up in Mumbai, India, and is here to share his stories and his accounts of what it was like celebrating Diwali in Mumbai, India. Enjoy the episode. Siddharth Rajan, hello and welcome to the Radiant Light
Hello,
podcast.
hello, Jimmy. How you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Yeah. Oh, okay. I mean, you can see the weather outside. It's not the best, but hey, that part of the
Yeah,
world, you know.
snap. Yeah, we've got exactly the same situation over here in Sweden. Actually, you're in Riga right now. We're doing this
Yeah, yeah, in Latvia.
international.
Yep.
Wow, fantastic! So grateful to have you here on the show today to be
Hey, my
discussing
pleasure.
Diwali, the festival of lights. It's fast approaching now, and
Yeah,
yeah, I'm looking to learn a thing or two as well. I'm sure you're going to be able to clue me in today.
yeah, for sure. Has to be one of the most celebrated festivals in whole of India. So of course the Festival of Lights is always a big thing for us. I mean, considered my family, it was always like new clothes, sweets, a lot of gifts. So
Oh, fantastic.
always significant for us that time of the year throughout the
Y-
country.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my research was telling me that in Hinduism, this is the biggest festival of the year. Is that correct? So,
Yeah, in a way or two, yes, has to be one of the biggest ones. Again, India being so vast, so huge.
mm,
But this is where one of the festivals, Diwali, as a whole, brings the whole country together. You know, it's just nice to see. Plus, it's the festival of lights. So
yeah.
India, gets the sun for the whole year and stuff. But
Mm.
during the night time, you feel like it's morning because it's so bright outside because of all the lights and the lamps and stuff. So it's just beautiful. Like it's just nice.
Yeah, yeah.
Diwali.
Fantastic. And something else that you said there that I'm really looking forward to getting into there is the diversity of India. Um,
Oh, all right.
I'm sure we're going to dive a little bit deeper into that as the
Sure.
conversation unfolds here. But just to kind of start us off properly, in layman's terms, what is Diwali and why is it celebrated?
So, I mean, okay, I'm gonna be very honest. It's a vast concept, all right. It
Okay.
involves a lot of good stories and a lot of different stories, basically based on the region in India. So I'm gonna refer to my notes. I'm gonna be very natural with it.
Mm,
So basically, Diwali is derived from the Sanskrit term called Deepavali. Let's say
okay.
Sanskrit is where Hindi as a language originates, right?
Okay.
And it means row of lights or lamps. Let's say row of lights, basically.
Hmm.
So in Diwali, like if you ever get the chance to come to India during Diwali, you will see these earthenware pots like this big, maybe, this big and in this
Okay.
shape, made from mud, and you put a little bit of oil and a little bit of cotton. So the cotton soaks in the oil, and you put it like you light it up, and these are like small lamps, very small lamps. So
Beautiful.
basically, significance of Diwali, and
Yeah.
every household
Mm.
puts one of these things on their doorstep. You know,
Oh, wow.
so the
Fantastic.
festival, the general idea of the festival is that the victory of light over darkness. That's the general
Mm.
idea. Yeah. So it's all about a festival of hope in general. Uh,
Like good over
that's how
evil, light over darkness, that sort of,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's how Diwali could be put, and it's just celebrated by Hindus and Sikhs and Jains and sometimes Buddhists too, which with their own stories and their own. Like, everyone has their own story of why they celebrate this festival this time of the year, right? So it
Yeah,
all comes together. Yeah.
it was beautiful to read up in my research how, although it's predominantly a Hindu festival, how celebrated by Sikhs and Buddhists as well. It's
Yeah.
sounds incredibly diverse.
Yeah. So little facts about Diwali in general. So it follows the Gregorian calendar, not the calendar that we use generally to make. So it follows
Okay.
the calendar around the Hindu calendar basically, and it happens around October or November. So
Yeah.
considering the cycle of the moon and stuff, they decide the date. So it's never on the same day.
Oh,
So for
wow. Of
example,
course. Yeah.
yeah. So most of the, let's say, start in August.
Mm.
The Hindu calendar starts with festivals, and it goes on till the March of next year. So that's a festive period for us. Always, it starts sometime in August till you have Ganesh Chaturthi, then you have Navratri, then you have Diwali, then you have
Aha.
Christmas coming in, New Year's, then you have
Yeah.
Farmers Festival going on. You have a lot going on in India all the time. Start in
Mm.
August
Mm.
till March because April, May is the hot season. It's the summer season, so no one really wants to do anything during that time. Like,
Yeah, I bet it gets incredibly hot.
yeah.
Mm.
So let's say among Hindus, it's one of the most widespread festival. Like Hindus from the north, from the south, from the east, the west, everywhere, all across
Mm.
India, you will find Diwali being celebrated. So it's just, I would say, I'm just gonna tell you this that these small earthenware lamps, like I mentioned, are
Yeah.
filled with oil, and it's done on the night of the new moon to invite the presence of Lakshmi, yeah, the goddess of wealth.
Uh-huh.
It's just like
Okay.
the goddess of wealth is welcome to our house. Yeah, that's how it is.
Okay. So the
Yeah,
goddess of wealth is bringing this light over darkness, and we're
over darkness.
welcoming in
Yeah, and this is
effectively.
a very very nice fact. Like usually in India, yeah, it's so populated, right?
Mm.
So with higher population and not a lot of safety measures and stuff, the doors are always closed. You will never find open doors and stuff. But during Diwali, the door is always open, like
Aha.
especially in Places.
Okay.
It's
Because
always
we're
open,
welcoming in the goddess. Yeah.
welcoming the goddesses. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
that's,
So,
that's
so
all
I just
about
want,
like goddess of wealth, is welcome to our house, and may the
Okay.
light show her the way.
Aha. Okay. So that would incorporate the like the prosperity. We're bringing in
Yep,
prosperity over of
exactly.
yeah, yeah, I see.
That's the whole
So
idea about around it, let's say.
if you enjoy our content, don't forget to like this episode and subscribe to our YouTube channel, as well as whichever platform you listen to your podcasts on. And you can even follow us on Instagram too. Radiant_light_podcast. And you can always reach out to us at Radiant Light Podcast 1, that's the number 1, at gmail.com. So we're celebrating the goddess of wealth, but in my notes here, I saw there was
Hmm.
the origins of a story, the warrior prince Ram. Is this the
Hmm.
correct story? I kind of had this down as the
It,
origin
it's
of
one
Diwali.
of the one of the correct stories, let's say. I mean,
Okay.
before you understand things about Ram, let's say you have to know a bit more about the Hindu gods in general. So
Okay.
the Hindus, like again, this is just from my research. Okay, like I've not been practicing Hinduism, but this is just from
Hmm.
the research that I've done recently and from the environment I've grown up in, because
Okay.
the majority were Hindus in general. So let's
Yeah,
say,
you grew up in Mumbai, India itself.
yes,
Yeah,
yep,
born
I
and
grew up in
raised. Wow.
Mumbai. Plus,
Wow.
Mumbai is not a place where there is concentration, let's say, of a certain religion, but it differs region to region, or locality. Lane to lane can be different. That's how Mumbai is.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's just like such a big place where you can find the whole of India in the city of Mumbai, because it's financially pretty strong. So
Hmm.
a lot of people have. There has been a massive immigration, let's say, migration, I would say, from different parts of India coming into to Mumbai, and let's say my father was one of those as well.
Okay.
So let's say, I mean, coming back to the Hindu gods in general, from what I know, it's like Hindus believe in the, let's say, Brahman, the universe, yeah, the universe. Okay,
Hmm.
so the triad of there is a triad of gods in
So,
Hinduism.
sorry, I
So it's
just quickly want to dive in there 1 second. When we say the Brahman and the universe, my
mhm,
understanding here is that the belief is that we are the Brahman, one
yeah,
universal soul, and consciousness itself being that. And then now we're coming on to the three gods, the Hindu Trinity, which is
yeah,
outside of our consciousness.
yep, yep.
Perfect.
So
Okay, continue. Yeah.
so let's say there are many Hindu gods and goddesses, right? Like in
Mm.
general, but the triad, the top three, let's say, would be Brahma, who's the creator, Vishnu, who's, let's say, the sustainer, and Shiva, who's, let's say, the destroyer of worlds, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, these gods do not directly appear. Yeah,
Okay.
Hindus also, there is a belief in Hinduism that these gods will only come into earth when everything goes down, like or everything goes bad. The gods are gonna come and put everything back in order. So it's just
Mm.
how it's written, how it is. So let's say the creator, the sustainer, and the destroyer of world, all of them appear in our day-to-day life, or in the mythologies and stuff like that, in different forms, right?
Okay.
So the story of Rama would be a form of Vishnu, let's say. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah. Yeah.
So
Okay. Yeah.
Rama would be a form of
So
Vishnu, let's say.
the demon that kidnapped Shiva in this forest would be a form of Shiva. Does not
No, no,
look
no, not
direct.
not not Shiva, not Shiva, but let's say Vishnu. Yeah. So Ram is an
Hmm.
avatar of Vishnu. Okay. So
Oh, okay.
right, Ram, this prince is the avatar of a god, right?
Hmm.
And as a god, as a male god form, there has to be a female god form as well, right? Just to accompany the guy, right?
Yeah, I
So
understand.
just as a triad of male gods, you have a triad of female gods as well. All right.
Okay, I see.
So
Right.
so you have Saraswati, who is the goddess of learning, let's say goddess of learning, art, and speech, who has this like she has this amazing instrument like called the veena, and it
Mm,
just symbolizes art. It's just nice to see. And we call Saraswati is, let's say, the goddess of learning, right? So in the school, uh, the books are called Saraswati because the books teach
mm,
you. The books
yeah.
are the source of learning. So the books are Saraswati for us, right? So Saraswati is one of the gods. Then come in Lakshmi, the one we discussed, the goddess of prosperity associated with wealth and non-materialistic wealth as well, because prosperity not always relates to wealth as well. And Parvati, who is the goddess of power, uh, associated usually with courage and beauty.
Mm,
So let's say as Ram is an avatar of Vishnu, uh,
hmm.
Sita is an avatar of Lakshmi. You know what I mean? So there are these
Okay.
triads, then
Yeah,
in their
yeah.
different forms. Uh,
Avatars on Earth
yes. So the whole story of
as a.
Ramayana goes about, you were spot on
Mm,
with that Ram was in exile for 14 years. Then he goes to the forest. Then Ravan, the demon god, as they call, like according to this, but I mean, again, is just how it was written. I mean, I don't demonize no one in this general
yeah.
sense, because it's with, let's say, a god with 10 heads and stuff. So I mean, I cannot say nothing about it, but this is how the story goes. All right. So
Right,
uh, his wife gets kidnapped, and Ram, along with Hanuman, who's like, I think you know. Do you know anything about Hanuman?
yeah, Hanuman was the sorry, let me just refer to my notes, the
Oh,
story.
sure, man.
Yeah, Hanuman is the monkey general who
Yes.
assisted Ram in saving his wife. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so
So along with his army of monkeys, so he's like half monkey, half human, kind of a
wow.
guy
Yeah.
who is completely devoted to Ram, completely devoted to the god. That's how it is. Like from the and when we were growing up, there was a movie about Ramayana as well, an animated movie dubbed in Hindi. Actually, I
Ah,
recently
ah,
found out that this is a Japanese anime. You
wow.
know, the Japanese there's a Japanese anime based on the whole story of Ramayana, of how he goes to Sri Lanka with his Hanuman's army, builds a bridge, walks on the bridge, goes and saves his wife, and it's all sorts of stories. So Diwali in that part of the north of India, in Ayodhya, that's basically the birthplace of Ram, as,
Okay.
from the books, from the knowledge that we have. And
Uh-huh.
for his return, because he was exiled from his house, right? So
Yeah,
for
yeah.
his return, they lit up the whole place.
Is
And
that where the oil lamp candles come from that you was telling me
yes,
right at the
yes,
beginning? Yeah.
yes.
Perfect. Okay.
So to welcome Ram and Sita back into Ayodhya, like, okay,
Mm,
there you go. That's one of the things about Diwali. But in, let's say, in the east of India, in Bengal, there is a goddess called Kali who is worshipped. In south of India, marks Krishna's defeat of demon Narakasura.
mm.
Naraka refers to hell, and
Okay.
some just celebrate Diwali as a marriage of Lakshmi and Vishnu as well. So there are different
Okay.
reasons, but the main one that we know, that I grew up
Hmm.
with, was the story of Ram as well, the most popular one.
Okay. So you grew up learning the traditional story that we spoke about right at the top of the show.
Yes,
Okay. And
just about, let's say, Vishnu and Lakshmi as well. So Vishnu in general, this the
mm,
out of the holy three triad of gods. Yeah, Vishnu is the preserver or sustainer of life, let's say, okay? He
Mm.
represents principle of order, righteousness, and truth. So that's what
Okay.
he stands for. And his
Yeah.
consort, Lakshmi, is the goddess of prosperity and wealth, like I mentioned. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's how this part of the god family tree connects, I guess.
I see.
So to commemorate their marriage or to celebrate their avatars coming back to Ayodhya, like the explanations could be plenty for Diwali. But all in all, beautiful.
Wow. So how was it celebrating Diwali, in Mumbai itself? How was the experience? Do you have any stories you'd like to share with us? Any
I mean,
first-hand accounts at all? Or?
so so this is basically, I mean, it's from a personal experience about celebrating because let's be honest, I've never researched stuff about Diwali, and I'll tell you why. First of all, there is so much, there is so much to read, so much to learn, and
Mm.
now that I feel okay, I had a little bit of time, and I wanted to do this podcast with you, and I was like, okay, let's research, and now I feel like, yeah, if I would have done this in when I was in school, it
Mm.
would have been very difficult for me
Okay.
study wise, because how much would a child study? Uh, he has his education to go through, he has science, mathematics, and since India with so much population going on, there is so much competition as well. So you really don't want to waste time with
Mm, mm.
trying to get into like go deeper and deeper. So I'm coming from an atheist family, so my dad never said that, hey, don't practice this, don't practice that, or don't, we always respected every religion, and we always celebrated all the festivals we had to celebrate because festivals are happy things, like festival, it's a festival. So people are happy.
Yeah, Festival of Lights or
Yeah,
celebrating their
yeah,
marriage as well, depending on the region. Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a happy
yeah.
time.
So
Yeah.
for us, for me in general, Diwali in Mumbai was creating these small mandalas. Like my sister used to create them outside the house with some powdered color or maybe with rice, or like not rice but like I don't even know how to describe it, like rice when it's blended into a small paste or something, and then
Okay.
basically making some mandalas outside the house with these lamps. Yeah.
Mm.
And on your let's say like a window like this, you would put on these lights that you would put on like small lights, and the
Mm.
one with patterns and stuff, it blinks and make it look
Lots of
like
different
everything.
colours as well, I'd imagine.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And since it's the festival of lights, there has to be fireworks. So that was
Aha,
my
of
favorite part of
course.
Diwali. So uh, personally, I did this for maybe it goes on for 4 days. By the way, Diwali is not a one day
Oh,
thing. It goes
wow.
on
Okay.
for 4 days. Yeah, Diwali. First of all, let's get that one right.
It's a
Diwali does not
four
happen
four
for
day celebration. Okay.
yeah. It's a 4 day celebration for 3 to 4 days. But
Mm.
as a child growing up, for me it was just about fireworks. There are huge stalls everywhere,
Okay.
fireworks stalls, yeah, and they sell fireworks like crazy. If they know you, you get discount,
Wow.
yeah.
Okay.
So you
Nice.
get the fireworks department sorted out, yeah. Your
Mm.
your parent would give you some money to go buy fireworks, and you're like, yeah, let's find our friends in the fireworks stall so that we can get stuff for cheap. So
Sounds like a
then,
real carnival atmosphere.
for sure, and then just a second, sorry, mom, I had to put it off. Uh,
Yeah, no worries.
you have the sweets department because it's a festival. You need sweets. India is like a land of the food, so you have these
Oh,
amazing
yes.
sweets come up, and there is always expectation that you would get a new shirt or a kurta. We traditionally wear a kurta
Mm.
for Diwali as well. And yeah, you have new clothes, you have sweets, And I have a sweet tooth personally, so I love sweets in all
Yeah.
these festivals. And yeah, fireworks. Just that's about it. So when I was in college, let's say when I was in
Mm.
around 17, 18, almost there. So Diwali was just about fireworks and meeting your friends in the evening. So it was just
And getting
another
those discounts off the people you know at the stalls, yeah.
that, always. I mean, it's incomplete without that.
Nice, yeah. Community.
Yeah, yeah.
So we mentioned earlier that there's different beliefs around Diwali, and the story varies from region to region in India. Um, how is Diwali celebrated in other parts of the country? Does it differ at all, or?
I mean, to be honest, I've never seen it in different parts of India. To be honest, I've only
Okay.
celebrated Diwali in Mumbai all the time.
Okay.
Uh, but I guess it would be beautiful there as well. Like in I know that in north of India, uh, during Diwali, like they put these earthenware lamps in the river as well. So there is this place called Haridwar, which is where it's one of the most holy spots in India, and this is where the river Ganges as you
Okay.
call it in English, but Ganga for me.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
Ganga has its banks, so these earthenware not pots, but like these earthenware diya we call them, yeah, filled with oil, with a little bit of cotton, let's say here, and it's just put up
Okay.
on fire, and these things are left on the river, like
Oh,
you know.
beautiful.
So
I
it's
can
just like
imagine the light kind of reflecting off the water as well.
100%. And in Haridwar, that is just so one of the days we have prayer meetings, like pujas we call them. Yeah,
Mm.
it's basically people come together and pray for prosperity, worship the
Mm.
goddess of Lakshmi during
Yeah, yeah.
Diwali. Has to happen. So during those, so everyone has diyas. It's just nice decorations, these diyas everywhere in the temples. Like when you walk through temples during Diwali, it's just, let's say, it looks like heaven, because you're walking through and you have these small lights all everywhere that you walk. Every path is lit. Every path is
Uh-huh.
lit. Every
Oh,
street is lit.
wow.
Every street has these. There's this thing called kandil, which is I don't know how to translate this in English, but uh, let's find out. It's like a big lamp which you hang from the top.
Like a lantern.
Do you know, like a lantern? Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the word. Lantern, but like has coverings are with paper in
Mm.
different colors. So basically, the red paper would reflect red color, and it just reflects
Oh,
different
wow.
colors. So it just
Yeah, and
makes
you
it
put them
more
all together
vibrant.
and
Yeah, it just makes
wow.
it more vibrant. And yeah, it's just a beautiful time of the year. I just feel like that.
Well, just listening to this conversation, or just being a part of this conversation in general, it's making me think like, I mean, I've only been to India one time in my life, and I
Hmm.
visited the north. I went to Delhi and Agra, saw the Taj Mahal, the standard stuff you'd expect from a first visit. But hearing this, I'm thinking to myself, man, like a real bucket list item would be to travel back there again and be in India when Diwali's going on. Yeah, like preferably
For
in
sure.
Mumbai, where I've never been to. It sounds
Oh,
fantastic. Mm.
yeah. Diwali. I mean, let's say if you would probably want to do a festival trip, I would highly recommend to go to Mumbai during Ganpati, like when we
Mhm.
worship Lord Ganesha, because that's one of the biggest statues that you have for the Lord Ganesha, and
Okay.
that is amazing in Mumbai. Like that festival in
Mm.
Mumbai it beats any other festival as well. And then you can go to Gujarat for Navratri, which is 9 days, which is actually going on right now.
Wow, 9 days. Oh, wow, and it's happening
Navratri,
now. Wow.
9 days.
Okay.
It's actually happening now. So about Navratri, it's like Nav means nine, Ratri means night. So it's like
Okay.
basically
Nine
nine
nights.
nights.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And every day is associated with a color, right? So
Ah.
some of the days you would wear, let's say, red color, some of the days white. I don't know what colors are there, like all nine, yellow, blue, red, all these bright colors, you know. So
Yeah. Yeah.
if you go out on a day where the color is supposed to be blue, everyone is in blue. Everyone just wears blue. And in the night, they go and dance. Like there is this traditional dance called Garba
Oh
in
wow.
Gujarat,
Yeah.
and that you can do like after Ganpati comes in Navratri, and then after that Diwali. So for that you can do the north, like in Haridwar and Rishikesh, and like those holy spots would be amazing.
I see. So are the festivals kind of varying from region to region depending where you go in India?
Yes, of course. I mean, let's say Ram, the story of Diwali. Yeah, coming
Mm,
back to
mm.
Ram, the most
Yeah.
popular story. So he came in Ayodhya, which is in the north of India, right? So of
Mm.
course the north of India would celebrate it way much more than Mumbai, for example.
I see. Yeah. Yeah.
Navratri, the traditional dance of Garba, is very famous and very, let's say, popular in Gujarat. So the state of Gujarat would have the best Navratri. You know what I mean?
Of course. Yeah. Because you're
Yes,
going to the source effectively. Yeah.
exactly. It's just like celebrating carnival in Sweden,
Mm.
or would you celebrate a carnival in Brazil?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I see. Yeah. Well, that was something that just struck me so much about my visit to India was just the incredible diversity, just things that blew my mind at the time were things like the amount of different languages that were spoken and how this changes from region to region.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, could you tell us a bit more about the different cultures in India and how they change from border to border?
I mean, so from a personal experience, let's say my dad was working in the railways. So I used to get the chance to travel for free when I was young. Uh,
Mm.
my dad would just be like, okay, you want to go like somewhere, and we just go. Like the whole family, we've been to Delhi, we've been to the north, we've been to the hill station side like Uttarakhand, and uh, we've been to the south of Kanyakumari, like southernmost
Okay.
point in India. So we've been across India,
Well
like different
traveled,
parts
yeah.
of India, well traveled. And personally speaking, I've been to 14 different states in India, and
Okay.
it's just so vivid. But when I was growing up, I was just like, I'm just in India. Like, at the end,
Yeah.
it was just like, yeah, I'm just in India because I really did not appreciate it that much, I feel like. But now, after I left my country and
Mm,
I see, let's say Europe, if you put Europe on the map and you put India on a map, I
mm.
would draw so many similarities between these two entities, because let's say every 4 hours in Europe, the language would change, the borders
Okay.
change, the cuisine changes,
Yeah,
right? The cultures
absolutely.
change, the history changes, and
Mm.
it's the same in India. Like 4 to 5 hours, let's say
Yeah,
one
okay.
hour by flight, or I don't know, 6, 7 hours by a car,
Mm.
and you have a different culture, you have a different language, you have a different cuisine, and that varies range, like let's say that varies area to area as well. To be honest, within the same
Yeah,
state,
yeah.
you could find a different part speaking a different dialect of the same language. You know what I
Wow.
mean?
Yeah, yeah,
It's just
absolutely.
you could be there from the same place, speaking the same language, and still not be able to communicate. There's a high
Wow,
possibility.
wow.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I can promise you will never meet an Indian guy who's just speaking one language. We
Okay.
are so
Yeah. You'd have
multilingual, so multilingual. Yeah,
You'd have to be, yeah, absolutely. It's
yeah,
funny there, just picking up on what you said, how you describe them as these two entities, comparing Europe and India, because I mean, these concepts, countries or continents or whatever, they are literally just figments of our imagination as people. We've just put labels on them, they're
of course.
essentially people and dialects changing and the borders is just effectively something that we've called it, whether it be a country
Of course.
or a continent or whatever it may be. So yeah, it just gets you thinking about things in a different way, I suppose.
No, 100%. Plus, I mean, we are all, in a way or two, we are all recently heard this from my friend. Actually, this is not something original that I'm gonna say, but my friend
Okay.
told me this, and it just blew my mind completely. And he
Mm.
just said, at the end of the day, it just feels like you are a product of the environment that you live in,
Yeah, absolutely. And I
and
think
that
the
made a
more
lot
the
of
more you
sense.
travel, you realize that as well, because it's
Yeah,
kind of like you step outside of your home country and you go into this totally different environment, or maybe it's not to you notice similarities and differences, but you're able to look back on that environment you grew up in and think to yourself, wow, if I was born here instead of there, I would just be completely, I would think differently, I would dress differently. And yeah, like you
would be
say, just a
such a different
product of
person.
the
Yeah,
environment. Yeah.
yeah. Because I mean, to be honest, let's say India in general is just it's overwhelming, as a place, as a
Mm,
whole.
yeah.
It's just massive, massive. Like there's so much going on. There is always something going on. Like
Mm.
it's just so
Always
busy
different
all the
festival.
time.
9 days, 4 days.
Yeah, there is just there is just so much going on. Plus, there is just it's just busy all the time. There is no place you could go and find peace unless I don't even know. Like, how would you find peace
Mm.
in a place like Bombay, for example? It's just like you can only find peace when, let's say, everyone is going to sleep. But even that is not the most peaceful because you have dogs barking around everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can only speak for myself here, but that inner peace that I think you're getting at, that's just really what I've kind of gained from the Zen Buddhism that I've been, getting more and more into recently. Just, I guess one of the key things, if I can kind of articulate it, it's like our environment is what it is, and just not
Yeah.
responding, not reacting to it, just responding accordingly. We can only control how we are internally. If something's going on outside us, we can't control that. So there's no need to stress out over it, kind of thing. That's,
No, for sure.
I guess, the closest I could come to answering that question.
No, I mean, at the same time, I would give you a very simple example as well. Like now I'm living, let's say, around 10 kilometers away from the city center, let's say. Yeah?
Mm.
And for me, this is like, okay, 25 minutes of a bus ride is nothing for me. Absolutely nothing for me. But the same time, when I speak to people from work and they have this, oh man, you're living so far. I mean, and I just feel like if you ever like the person was like, oh man, you're living so far. And I'm just like, if you ever lived in a city like Bombay, 25 minutes of a bus ride is a luxury. Like, first of all, there is no traffic here.
Yeah, yeah. I've seen some of that traffic in India, by the way.
Oh,
People literally standing on the sides of the buses and on the roof. It's like, wow, it was you wouldn't find that where we live here in Sweden and Latvia,
no way, no
it's a
way.
different
Just
world,
go
man.
in. If you can survive the Mumbai local trains without getting pickpocketed, then I think you would do a pretty good job in Mumbai.
Oh
Give it
wow,
a
lovely
day,
insight there, yeah.
100%.
But
I mean, every
these
day when I was in the train, you would see most of the people wear their bags not behind. They would never wear their bags behind. They would wear their bags in the front,
oh, of
put
course,
all of
yeah.
their belongings inside the bag, hug the bag, and you don't even need to hold a bar or something just to stand still because it's packed.
Everybody's
There is
squeezed in, yeah, exactly,
Yeah,
yeah.
so there is no space for movement. You're not gonna fall, and you have your stuff safe. So you're just like this for a while, and then you reach your destination.
It's funny you should mention that about the bags on the front, actually, because when I travelled to Peru, couple of was it about 18 months ago, I was advised to have the backpack on the front side, and he said, yeah, if people see you having the backpack on the front side, they know not to mess with you. Yeah, they know you're streetwise.
Exactly. And here, when I came in, and I came into a tram, which was, let's say, according to Latvian standards, was pretty full. According to Mumbai standards, they would say there is so much space. And I put my bag in the front, and I was just seeing people like look at me weird, Just it happened today morning as well. Actually, there came in a girl in the bus, and
Okay.
she started speaking on her phone. And it is 6:30 in the morning, and people just start looking at her, just start staring at her. In
Oh
Mumbai, this
wow.
is this is just like, yeah, okay, normal. Like you're talking on the phone in the train, it's normal. Like for us, it's okay. But here it's just have some decency for the people. That's how different parts of the world operate. It's just
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was something that blew my mind about Scandinavia in general. It's commonly seen that by ignoring other people, you're being polite. You're seen to be how can I phrase this? In typical Western culture, English or American, the polite thing to do is, "Hey, how you doing?" Be conversational. But here in Scandinavia, it's like, "Oh, if I leave you alone, I'm respecting your privacy." It's the polite thing to do. It's like,
yeah,
wow, cultural differences.
and blows my mind.
Well,
Yeah.
talking about this sort of thing, I feel, cultural differences and exploring other countries, that's something that you and I are really bonded on, our love of
That's
travel.
how
I
we
mean,
met.
yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, we met in that hostel in, what was it, in
Yeah,
Tallinn, wasn't it?
Alan.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was,
you after a Chelsea game, after
yeah,
swimming.
yeah.
Yeah,
You was on your way out to watch Man United.
yeah,
Yeah, it's good
yeah.
times,
I think you'd need a lot of beers tonight as well, considering that they are playing Arsenal.
Yeah, it's going to be a good game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, look, want to be respectful of your time. I feel like we're kind of
No,
approaching the end of this episode now, but thank you so much for
no,
being a
man.
part of the.
Anything more? I'm actually having fun having this conversation.
Yeah, well, I mean, just to wrap it up, I just wanted to ask you if you had any of your own favorite travel experiences that you'd like to share with us, either internally in India or perhaps somewhere further afield. Anything you'd like to?
Oh, I would have to share this amazing story which happened recently in Spain.
Okay,
I was gonna tell you this after the podcast ended, but now that you asked me that, do I have a story to share? Actually, I'm
go
gonna
for it.
share this. So
Go for it.
I just had a vacation, let's say 90 days ago. I was in Amsterdam for a couple of days, and I've never been
Nice.
Amsterdam before, never been to the Netherlands before. And after
Wow.
that, I was doing the Camino in Spain. So I was
Oh, nice.
actually walking, me and my friend Max. He's also from the UK, together in the same company, and he was the one who suggested, like, hey man, there is this walk in Spain leading to the Santiago de Compostela, which is a huge cathedral, and it says one of
Okay.
the disciples of Jesus is laid to rest over there. So it's like a holy pilgrimage walk that you
Mm,
do, and it's just nothing. Just pick up your bag every day, start walking,
okay.
right? So over the 6 days, everything was perfect. So first day, Amsterdam, amazing. It was you remember John for sure you do.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, well, we
Of
travelled
course,
to
yeah,
Gothenburg together, didn't we? Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
How could I
So it was
forget it?
me, John, me, John, and Max, and we are here in uh, Amsterdam. John went back to Latvia, and me and Max continued to Spain.
Mm,
So on the first walking 30, 25 to 30 kilometers, something like that. And we met a group of people, and things happened. And let's say one of these girls who was there in the group joined us to walk the rest of the journey with us.
nice.
Okay. Along the way, we met people from everywhere in the world, everywhere in the world. And we just see like, okay, I mean, I met people from Uruguay, from South Korea. It's
Wow.
crazy on how much it brings to how much joy it brings to people, and how much you feel
Mm.
that you don't need a lot of materials to live. Because I was carrying some things in my backpack, and I just felt I could be okay with two t-shirts and shorts, and I could wash them every day just to finish this walk with a lighter backpack, because after a while it gets heavy, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
So
absolutely, yeah.
let's say 6 days were proper, and there was just magic. You know, it was just magic. You feed some horses along the way, you feed some cows, and you just it's just nature, walking in the nature. Amazing, beautiful, right?
Sounds very
So
zen, man. Really just pulls you
yeah,
into the moment, you know?
exactly, exactly. And I did not have like proper internet and stuff because I didn't need it. Didn't need it. Did not have any social media. I've not did not have anything. I just want to be there in the moment, and I was
In the
there.
moment, disconnect.
So yeah, finally, on the last day, we made it to Santiago de Compostela. And in Santiago de Compostela, there has to be a party. At the last day, of course, you want to go
Mm.
out, you want to have a party, right? So everything is good. We had a party till, let's say, 3 in the morning. And then, let's say 2:30, we came back to the hotel, all good, went to sleep, woke up at 6:30, had to get to the airport. Flight is at 9:50. Yeah, 9:50,
Okay.
50. So my flight is from Santiago de Compostela to Stansted in London, back to Riga. Sounds
Okay.
pretty simple,
Mm.
but it wasn't. So we
Okay.
go there, and we are like, okay, we are not allowed to check in from this application. Could you please let us, like, can we please have the boarding pass and we can go? So he
Mm.
gives us the boarding pass and he says, get the stamp from the lady over there. And I go there and I was like, hey, this is my card, residence card, because I'm going back to
Mm.
Riga. And could you just stamp my boarding pass so that I can travel?
Mm.
She says, hey, in Stansted, there is no transit. In
Okay.
order for you to board, I cannot let you board this flight because you would have to cross UK immigration and you don't have a visa. And I am
Okay.
devastated because I'm after 6 days of walking and I just partied last night and I'm a little
Yeah, I bet
hungover.
that was the last bit of news you needed.
But I really need to get back to Riga, and I just kept saying that, listen, I'm not even trying to go to UK. I'm just, my flight is like this. I'm just trying to get back to Riga. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she's like, okay, I will call immigration, but it's your call. So she calls up immigration, and they say, since he has a flight in 2 hours, he can come here if he wants to, try his luck,
Mm.
but it's on you. And I said, okay, let's go. You know,
Yeah.
whatever happens, happens. She stamps this boarding pass, lets me through. I pass security, and I just realized if I'm leaving the EU, I should have passport control, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I go through passport control, and there is this lady around in her, let's say, late 50s, I believe, or late
Mm.
40s, something like that, with all due respect. And she starts speaking to me in Spanish, and I just say, es no hablo español,
Okay. Mm.
lo
Don't
siento, I'm
understand
sorry.
Spanish. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
And she just looks at me, looks at my passport, looks at my residence card from the EU, and just
Mm-hmm.
says, venga, venga, just go. She lets me through
Wow.
as well.
In the
And I'm
mo
just
in the
like,
mo wow.
in the moment, I'm just like, okay, let's just go. So now I'm here on the flight, and this lady's like, sorry, your backpack is too big. And I'm like, lady, listen, if you know what I've been through, you would just let me pass.
You wouldn't
But
care about
okay,
this. It'd be
yeah.
more difficult
And I
sending me
just,
back at this stage.
yeah. So I just took, dirty clothes, like 2 bags of dirty clothes. And I was like, yeah,
Mm.
see, now the bag fits. And now at this point of time, it's just me and Max at the airport. And she's just like, you know what, guys, just go.
Wow.
So now here I am in the UK. I
Wow,
have
man.
landed in the UK with no visa, with no preparation. And when we enter, we go through all these merry-go-rounds, yeah, and
Mm.
then Now we see UK and EU passports this way, all other passports that way. Max looks at me, Max says, see you on the other side, mate. I'm like, cool. And this whole big queue is for 1 hour now. I'm standing there for 1 hour and I see people reading in their letters like, hey, I've come to the UK
Mm.
to visit, I've come here to study, and people are like literally nervous and stuff. And I've just come here with a bag of dirty clothes, tired, hungover, not knowing what's gonna happen. So my best guess was I see the UK border, I can just ask them like, hey, I'm not trying to enter your country, but can you just escort me to my gate so that I can leave straight away? No,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
denied boarding for me, but I really want to like just get back home. That's all I want. So I go and I hope to get an officer, UK customs. Now I'm at, no, not customs, UK borders actually. I'm just
Mm.
hoping that I get this lady who's like young or like a man who's young so that I can explain my situation better.
Get on a level,
But
yeah.
yeah, but now there is this guy who's like roughly in his late 60s, mate, and I'm just like, oh,
He's not going to
as
be
luck
having
would
none of
go.
it.
Yeah, and he's just like, the moment I go there, I start blabbering, and I'm like, okay, I denied board, I got denied board, and could you like please help me out? And he just looks at me dead in the eye, and he's just like, can I just see your passport? I'm like, yeah, sure. Give him my passport, my boarding pass, my EU residence card, everything. And he just looks at it once, looks at my card, looks at the passport, and he's like, to enter the UK, you need a visa. And I'm like, I know. I'm not trying to enter the UK in general. And he's like, so why are you here? If you need a transit, you need to go to Gatwick or Heathrow. And I'm
Hmm.
like, yeah, sure, but I'm already here. And he just looks at me and he's like, this airport does not do transit, so I can send you back to Santiago de Compostela. That's the
Okay.
only thing you can do. And I'm
Ouch.
just like, I just say like, I have a flight in 2 hours. I have no intentions of staying in the UK. And they denied boarding for me first. And then they called the immigration office and said, I can travel, right?
Okay.
And he takes out his phone, this old Android phone. I can see it's old because the case is all yellow, you
Mm.
understand it's kind of
Yeah,
old.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And he just calls and it's very rude to look at someone when they're speaking. So I just look on the other side and I hear from this ear that he said, I've got this Indian citizen here with me. And I look at him and I'm like, my chances don't look really good here, do they? So
Yeah.
he starts talking and then he's like, listen, next time if you ever enter the UK via this airport without a visa, you're going to be banned from the UK.
Oh, wow. That's
I'm like,
strong.
okay, that's how serious this is now. And
Mm.
he says, you have 24 hours. That means till midnight to get out of the UK, or else
Okay.
you are deemed as an illegal immigrant here in the UK.
Wow.
So he stamped my passport, started writing something on my passport, and he gave it
Okay.
back to me and said, pass.
Get on. Wow. So you got through
And I just
again.
opened my passport and I see he said 24 hours only. And I have a stamp of UK on my passport.
Nice.
And I
Wow.
entered the UK, just talked my way through it.
Just did it. You talked your way through. Well, there's a beautiful Zen phrase that applies to that. It's like the universe has your back. All you've got to do is control your mind. And that's exactly what you did. You were determined to
That's
get
crazy.
through, and just like all the obstacles just fell apart, and you made it through. The universe had your
Yeah,
back.
it was
Wow.
crazy. I mean, we ended up like me and Max at that moment in time, we were just so tired that I did
Mm.
not even realize like what did I just accomplish? Like what did I just do? Like how lucky could I get? It's
Yeah,
just
man. Well,
crazy entering a country. Just yeah, okay, I'm already here. So what you gonna do? Like,
yeah,
it was
exactly. What
amazing.
what are they gonna do? Yeah.
Yeah, and
Wow.
I mean, like it was. I had to get it right because I have a dream. I need to go to Manchester one day. I need to see United play,
Mm.
right? So I cannot mess this up. I
Yeah, yeah.
cannot
You
get
don't
banned
want to
from
get
the
banned from
UK.
the UK.
Exactly.
Wow.
And yeah, just an amazing story. And then I got on the next flight, came back to Latvia. Yeah, had a good
And
day.
that's one of the beautiful things about travel as well, isn't it? It's like when you're in the moment, that is not a pleasant situation to be in. But once it's over and you're back home, you look back on it and you're like, wow, what a
Wow.
story. It gives me something to share. It's like yeah, and you don't get
Yeah,
those experiences without traveling. It's fantastic.
for sure, man. I mean, that's what connects both of us as well because we
Mm.
think the same about traveling. Like it's all about these experiences. Like
Yeah.
I mean, see, and that's how it is. Like when you talk about balance, let's say the universe has to have some sort of balance, right?
Mm.
Amsterdam was lovely. Spain was amazing. There was too much good going on. There has to be a balance. There has to be something that puts me back in place. You know what I mean? Or it's too good to be true.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So balance was made. Reality was pretty decent reality check. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, that's the yin yang effect there, like everything
Yeah,
was just way too good. You needed something to sort of, weigh you down on the other end and keep. In fact, in Hinduism, I think it's called where was it on my notes here? Uh, the Dharma. Yeah, it's like a balance in the
Dharma.
universe. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
there's literally a Hindu word for it. And, a person has their personal dharma. There's dharma in the
Yeah.
universe. Yeah, so
Personal karma
wow.
as well. Like the concept of karma is across Hinduism, Buddhism as well.
Mm.
I mean, karma is just whatever you do. It's based on reincarnation. Like
Yeah,
your
I
karma
mean,
reflects on what your next birth would be like.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, I did as much research on Hinduism as I possibly could prior to the show, and my word, it's such an in-depth religion, and there's just so much to learn about it that we couldn't have possibly done it all justice here on this show. But yeah, my understanding of karma being that our actions are having an
Hmm.
effect on us not only in this life but in also the rebirth of the next life is what I
Yep.
understand from Hinduism. And the core some of the core beliefs as well being like in cyclical time, there's no beginning and no end, it's just
Yeah.
constantly
I mean, the word karma derives from the Sanskrit word of karm as well, and karm means action. So it
yeah, yeah.
actually means action. So it's about this cycle of life basically, wherein your good karma can reach you to a better life in your next birth. But at
Mm.
the same time, when you meditate and you attain moksha, which is how do you call? There is a word from S. I don't know what is
Well,
it called.
my understanding of moksha
Ah,
is the release from this cycle. That we're being
yeah,
born
yeah,
over and over again into different lives, and then yeah, in Hinduism, the ultimate goal being to achieve moksha and break the cycle.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah.
Moksha is like a release, basically. A release from your cycle of life. It's where you
Mm.
attain peace, you attain
Correct
freedom
me if
from
correct me if
all.
I'm wrong, but the moksha is like a result of doing the other three goals in harmony, which is your dharma, the constant being in balance, the artha, pursuit of prosperity and good
Mhm.
reputation, and karma, pleasure in body and mind, like the good version. There's a bad version of well, is if you're chasing lust and materialism, but those
Yeah, yeah.
the good version included is what you need to achieve moksha, if that's right.
Mhm. I mean, of course, there is so much more to read about these things as well because,
Mm.
but the basic ideology is just liberation from the cycle of life and death.
Mm,
You're
mm.
free. You attain salvation. That was the word actually that I was trying to learn.
Salvation, that was it. That's what you
Salvation.
was looking for, yeah.
Salvation. Yeah, yeah.
So
So
I
it's
just,
just like this freedom from this cycle of life and death
mm,
is where you attain salvation. That's moksha.
yeah.
And in order to attain moksha, all the other things, your dharma, your karma, everything has to be in order, balance. It's like the universe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Siddharth, thank you so much for this
Our
conversation today. We're
pleasure.
incredibly grateful. In some ways, I feel like we've kind of only just scratched the surface here with Hinduism specifically. So, of no pressure or anything. If you ever would like to come back on the show and take a
For
deeper dive
sure.
into Hinduism, or perhaps an episode about travel, we could even have John on the show, who we mentioned earlier. If you're
Yeah,
interested
yeah.
at some point in the future, you've been a fantastic guest today, and we would very much appreciate you coming back if you wish. There's a
Wow,
lot of
pleasure.
directions that
Pleasure
we
is all
could
mine. Yeah.
go in. All in the spirit of Zen, of course.
100%. Oh, I remember Sweden last year. You were just starting
Yeah.
about this. You're just telling us about Zen and stuff. And it's nice to see that you
Oh
actually
yeah.
picked it up. You actually followed something. Really
Oh,
good.
thank you, thank you. Yeah, you saw me reading that book actually. Yeah, in an Indian
Yeah.
restaurant, wasn't it?
Okay, that appears to be all we have time for on today's episode. If you enjoy our content, don't forget to like this episode and subscribe to our YouTube channel, as well as whichever platform you listen to your podcasts on. And you can even follow us on Instagram too. Radiant_light_podcast. And you can always reach out to us at Radiant Light Podcast 1, that's the number 1, at gmail.com. So until next time, good night, God bless, and namaste.